Stop your messing around, yeah. Time to think of your future, yeah. Time you settled right down and did some work in your share. Oh, listing. It's time to get listing. Don't forget listing. Boo 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 boo. Yeah, I don't know what's the matter with me tonight. Hello YouTube, and welcome to the hovel. And it's not going to be a grovel from the hovel, it's just going to be a monthly update. So, oh, I almost forgot. Greetings, salutations, and commemorations to all you pagans, Wiccans, witches and druids. Happy summer solstice. Yeah, longest day of the year. Well, it's not a day's still 24 hours, but it's the longest hours of daylight a year. It changes. Some days, some years it's the 20th, some years it's 21st, some years it's 22nd. It's just slightly change. Right. I've already done this video once, and for some reason the camera broke down in the middle of it. And the poem that I'd written down, not one of my poems, it's another one of John's, John Cooper Clarke, was on the floor, but I picked it up now. So, a little light-hearted one this week, and it's my favourite subject, and it's a lot of men's favourite subject. Can you guess what it is yet? No, it's not sex. It's not beer. It's pie. Pie. Can't beat pie. So it's called Pie. A homely girl called Anne just couldn't get a man. Her mother said, darling, don't you cry. You'll knock 'em down like skittles with your verinacious fiddles. You'll always get a guy with a pie. Sugar, butter, flour keeps 'em in your power. When physical attractions run awry, start rolling out the dough and he'll never let you go. Yes, you'll always get a guy with a pie. When rules of engagement don't apply and your best meals fail to catch his eye, bring on the custard and he'll be keen as mustard. You'll always get a guy with a pie. When a man finds a mate, he can gain a little weight. Yeah, I've been there and I can testify. I used to be a rake, then she began to bake. You'll always get a guy with a pie. Guys ain't complex, they soon get sick of sex, yet they still got needs to gratify. Savoury or sweet, a bloke's gotta eat. Yes, you'll always get a guy with a pie. Even when they're stale, they taste okay with ale, at the point where hunger pangs intensify. Cold weather grub, you can get 'em down the pub. You'll always get a guy with a pie. What else you gonna do with that leftover stew and those cuts of meat you can't identify? Ingredients of this sort taste better under short crust. You'll always get a guy with a pie. So girls, remember that. I know it's getting a little bit healthier eating now, but you know, guys like pies. Especially northern guys. If you want a northern guy, bake a pie. If you open your kitchen window, all you single women, and every day you cook a nice meat potato pie, or maybe a steak and kidney, and you let those fumes waft out, as those men start coming walking down your street, they'll smell that pie, and suddenly you'll be more attractive to your potential mates, because you know, we all know about pheromones and hormones and all that sort of thing, but pie aroma is probably right up there with all that. What we're going to do next? Beer update. Now, I'm not pissed. I've not had a drink. I'm not on any alcohol. Don't worry. I'm just like this. This is how I am. So beer update. Budweiser, alcohol-free. Prohibition brew. Now, I've got a good story about the Prohibition. And Winston Churchill. Brilliant this. This is just one of the reasons why I think Winston Churchill is so great. Not just for like the, you know, we'll fight them on the beaches and the landing grounds and all that sort of stuff. And never in the field of human conflicts, you know, and that one. I love all them. I love all his little put-downs, his little quips. I've read a few of his books. Fantastic author, by the way, Churchill as well. But and a great Briton. He gets a little bit of a bad press, but the guy was a maverick and an adventurer and a seeker of danger. Anyway, what was I going to say about Churchill now? Oh yeah, Prohibition. So, at one point in his political career, he went to America, basically on a book tour. He'd written some sort of book, history book. It may have been the history of the Great War, I don't know. And Prohibition was in force in America at the time, so you couldn't have alcohol in there. Obviously there was an undercover alcohol sales and stuff like that, and that's when the gangsters started big time in America. Was Prohibition was their big money earner. You know, when you get all the sort of things like the Valentine's Day Massacre and Al Capone and all that, they were all selling illicit booze. But Churchill had 4 loves in his life. One was danger. He loved danger. He loved politics. He loved alcohol. And he loved writing books. But he had to have alcohol every day. He loved it. He was a big drinker. In fact, I think Paul Rogers Champagne has a cuvée de Winston Churchill. Because he loved their champagne that much, they named a bottle after him. And I think you can still get that today, cuvée de Winston Churchill. Yeah, so he's got to go to America, but he can't drink. So what does he do? He gets his doctor to write a prescription that he's got to have so many bottles of wine a day, and he's got to have them with his meals, and blah de blah de blah. So he had wine and beer and whatever else he drunk, spirits, on prescription. Now that gets respect for me. I mean, the guy was a dude. Right, anyway, what have we done? We've done the poem, haven't we? We've done the beer update. A little sidetrack onto Winston Churchill. What a guy he was. Yeah, so, right. It's update time. 4th week. It's the end of the 4th week. It's not been a bad week. Not quite as high as last week. I'm £60 down. But 2,422. I'm happy with that. A couple of days have seemed slow. But it's been okay. So our 4-weekly period from when I came back out of hospital, 25th of May to the 22nd of June, is £9,055. So that's a hell of a lot of an increase, that, compared with the previous 4 weeks, which was 6,663. We did have a drop off there because it was sort of like the 5th, 6th, 7th and 8th week that I was not here. So hardly anything had been listed. We had all the stock here, but it wasn't going on. And also it's the monthly slowdown as well. The most of May always tends to be the worst one to me. Sort of like everything from Easter onwards seems to be a bit dodgy. So the average daily take was £323 a day. So I'm happy with that. I don't know what it is with these beers. They're a little bit gassy. It's Budweiser one though. That isn't bad. With my knackered brain and taste buds, that tastes very similar to normal Budweiser. from what I remember. Back in the day. Yeah, so the average selling price was 323. I don't know why, I feel a bit fucking mad tonight. I don't know what's the matter with me. Right, so yeah, I'm happy with that, but obviously we want to get up to £500 per item, average cost. But it's going to take, I reckon it's going to take a year to 2 years before we get up to that. But once we do, I'll say £500 an item, £500 a day, I mean. I don't want £500 an item. I like to sell cheap stuff. Cheap stuff and get it out the door, you know. Get it out. Turnover. Because I'm vain, and turnover's vanity. We all know that. Because everybody trots that saying out, don't they? Regular. Turnover's vanity. Profit sanity. Yeah, well, so what? Right. So, average daily take of 323. So we're happy with that. We are making some money, but the trouble is, every time we make money, we spend it on stock at the moment, because we're buying more and more stock. If we were just replenishing stock, we'd be doing alright now, we're making a really decent profit. But at the moment, that's not our priority. We're a bit like Amazon, but we're sort of like Fat Man and his kid's son, really, you know, or Shiterzon, something like that. But you know, profit isn't the be all and end all at the moment, because as long as we've got enough to live on, and the rest of it goes back into the business. Right, so I just want to do a little thing about these shop subscriptions and the costs and everything. I'm not going to talk about the featured or the anchored store, I'm just talking about the basic store this week. The basic store is £25 plus VAT. So that is £30 a month, which isn't bad. But it's not bad, that, is it, for a shop, really? And you get 250 listings and 50 auctions. And then after that, it's 10 pence an item plus VAT, so 12 pence an item if you go over your limit. So I just wondered, with a basic shop and a sort of like average sort of like sell-through rate, better than my sell-through rate's atrocious. I am sorry, you'll have to excuse me. My sell-through rate's atrocious, and yeah, it's disgusting, really. Don't do what I do. Don't follow anything I do. You know, you want to turn it over quick, forget me. Move on. You know, I'll disappear out here somewhere. You can watch someone else. Yeah, so the cost of selling a £10 item on this shop. So I thought, well, if somebody uses all 250 and they had a 10% sell through a week, so that'd be roughly 40% in a month, they'd probably sell about 100 items, maybe a few more. So I thought, what's the cost of selling a £10 item? So you start off with your £10, don't you? £1.20 eBay commission. That's a 12%, 10 plus VAT. Some categories are slightly lower, but the majority are that sort of thing. Excuse me. 30% proportion of the shop fee, because obviously it's £30 a month. If you sell 100 items a month, it's going to be 30p, isn't it? Just to sell that one item. 20p to PayPal, which is going to go up soon, by the way. I need to do a video on that, don't I? The increased costs of PayPal, the way it's going. All you business sellers who are big, but not big enough. Big costs coming. Well, not big costs. Tamebay say it's big costs. Oh, it's going to ruin you. You're going to be out of business. Yeah, you know, it's going to push eBay to the edge. This, blah, blah, blah. Bollocks, you know, all the usual overreactive bull ploppy. Yeah, but PayPal, 20p transaction. I put 10p for a box here, or 10p for a postcard, postage envelope. I think we post postcards in these things. I think they come in about 6p. Bubble mailers about 10p, maybe a little bit less. 1p for your label, because believe it or not, to print a label off does cost money. They're not free, you know. 1p for your bit of tape that goes around it. And then 34p to PayPal, which is the PayPal final value fees. You know, they're proportional. Their fee of your payment fees, I should say, not final value fees. So that's £2.16p, which would leave you with £7.84. Forget what the goods cost you to buy. I'm just saying that's what you'd pay just in fees. Now, if you're doing a £10 free post, you'd have postage on top of that as well. If you're promoting a listing, you've got a promoted listing if it sells as a promoted. And if you're doing a working capital, you've got that to take into consideration as well. But even at that, £7.84 left. If your cost of goods is £2 for a £10 item, you're on £5.84. It's still not a bad profit, that, is it? And if you're doing a £20 item, obviously it's going to be more. I just thought I'd do a little thing there, just to show you what it costs to sell a £10 item, based on selling 100 items a month, roughly. What else are we going to talk about now? Because I've only been on 16 minutes, I've got to try and stretch it out a bit, you know what I mean? Could give you more Winston Churchill anecdote. Oh, I didn't tell you, did I? My great-grandfather knew Winston Churchill. Yeah. Me mother's mother, her father worked for the Cooperative Wholesale Society, the Co-op. He started on the gates. I've got his illuminated address somewhere. One week I'll dig it out. It's unbelievable. Full illuminated address in a folder for 50 years service with the CWS. And he started off on the gate, just, you know, as a gateman, and he ended up as their chief accountant. Talk about self-made man, this guy was pretty impressive, really. Our family on my mother's side went downhill after that. He was like the pinnacle, till I come along. And now we're doing that. Well, we're not really, but, you know, pretend, shall we? Anyway, he knew Churchill. He was a big conservative, and when Churchill went back into the Conservative and Unionist Party, as it's known, he organised a couple of Churchill's rallies and speaking events in Manchester, and he was, like I say, he knew him quite well. He was quite a good friend of Churchill's. But that aside, I was just thinking about stock and what's the good places to get certain types of stock, and where I buy stock, and, you know, where you lot buy stock, really. I mean, I know a lot of you go to the charity shops, don't you? I mean, I don't go there anymore. I used to, but for the sort of stuff I sell, it's really a struggle there, and to me, I haven't got the time to do it. I need to buy in bulk me. I can't buy in bits and pieces unless I go for a little day out, you know, somewhere, and I buy a few little bits and pieces. I want to tell you about the flea market in a bit I went to. I didn't end up with bits and pieces, I got a bit of bulk. Anyway, so charity shops, I think really clothes, shoes and media, they're probably alright, aren't they? I know they're going up in price, a lot of the stuff's going up in price, but that could change slightly, I think, if the economy improves a bit and people, just general public, I'm talking about now, you know, decide that they don't want to go in charity shops as much, because the prices surely would come down. Yeah, but I say, like clothes, media, shoes, I think there's plenty of those in the charity shops, but what I struggle with is bric-a-brac and antique. There's virtually nothing there, and I don't sell any of the media. So to me, charity shops for me are a waste of time, but I should imagine for a lot of the small sellers, that sounds so snobby, that, doesn't it? I didn't mean it like that. I mean, for a lot of the people starting out, it's probably a good place to go if you want to sell clothes, shoes, and media. The big place for all of us when we start out is car boots, isn't it? But also you need to rope in with that flea markets, second-hand markets. You'll find that if you look up in your local area, there will be some second-hand markets on regular. Now this brings out something that some people see as a problem, because obviously car boots, when we start out, we're all looking for those private sellers who don't know what they're doing, basically, so they're going to let the stuff go cheap. But that isn't necessarily always true, because if it's their own personal stuff, they could be quite attached to it, or been attached to it in the past. They know what it costs brand new, and they want to get some money for it. Some of them. Some just want to get rid. So we've got those. But a lot of the eBay sellers seem to avoid the dealers. I think your car boots, it tends to be the house clearance guys, doesn't it? The regular guys, the guys who buy from either the really shit auctions where everything's lotted up in big lots and then they throw it in the back of the van, or they're doing house clearances and clearing people's houses and pulling all the gold out and picking up the carpets and getting the £10 notes and stuff that's under the carpets and looking everywhere for cash and all that. Ship the washing machines and the fridges, freezers off to these second-hand washing machine places. All the clothes and stuff like that would probably go to the weighing place. And then all what's left, the random bric-a-brac of life, such as this item here. This I got at the flea market. Now this is, I love this. I paid £2 for this. Well, as part of my job lot, it was £2. This ashtray here. Now I put it on Antiques Arena. I didn't notice there's a little heart there under that head. Diamond under that head. I think that's supposed to be some sort of clubs. I mean, it's got some age to it, this. Is that the clubs? Yeah, I think that's the clubs. I think that one's the spades there. So I think it's some sort of like poker gambling ashtray. I need to clean it a little bit more in the middle there. There's like a residue of tobacco smoke. I got some of it out, but so let's do it. But this thing is bronze, solid bronze. That it's really nice. And like I said, that was £2 off a house clearance guy, because you know he's just got loads of this stuff. He doesn't rate it. Other stuff he does. But I just say, like, if you go in to the car boots, never ignore these guys and try. If you're going to scale it up, the best way to scale it up is obviously to buy bulk. And you, like I say, you need, really to buy bulk these days, you need a contact. And the best way to get a contact is to go to a car boot, a flea market, a second-hand market, an antiques fair even, if you're into the sort of stuff that I'm into, and start talking to people and let them know that you're a seller, and let them know you're a keen buyer. Because these guys, they've got no attachment to their stock. Bulk buys, they don't the stuff doesn't interest them. If it's stuff that interests them, they'll keep it at home as a collectible, or you know, they'll put it through auction. But it's bulk buys, and make up a new contact. Like if you can get one of these guys on board, and you say, right, well, you'll go, well, what are you interested in, and what have you got? And you say, well, I buy, I don't know, say tennis rackets. I mean, I'm only just making that off the top of my head. I don't buy tennis rackets. I have nothing to do with them, you know. No interest to me. They're too big. They don't fit in an envelope. So, or a small box. So yeah, he says, oh bloody hell! I said, I've just cleared out a tennis club that, you know, folded. I've got loads of tennis rackets. I've got balls. I've got all sorts there. I've got a shed full of stuff. Great, get down there, and you've got yourself, you know, a big supply of stock for a reasonable price. And usually when it bulks up, the price comes down, you know. I mean, this guy I went to on Thursday, big massive crate of stock, you know, that deep, on big fruitcakes. I can't show you here how big it is because it wasn't that big, because that's on the screen. It's up here, it's out here. The crate's over there, massive. So all full of stuff. £170, and I've got items in there that are worth probably £100 on their own. I've got loads of £10 items, loads of £15 items. I've got a good amount of gear, and I found out he only lives literally a mile away from where I live, so that's absolutely brilliant. I'm chuffed with that. I've got his phone number, he's got my phone number. So in the last 2 weeks I've made 3 contacts, because I bought a load of stuff off a woman on eBay. Those football badges, I bought them off her, and she got in touch with me on eBay and says, well, what else are you into? And I said, well, I'm into this, I'm into that. She said, well, I'll list it for you now. So she just listed it, and bang, I just bought it, and it's all here now, badges and small items. So she knows that I'm a buyer, he knows I'm a buyer, and the guy who gave me this glass, who I'm not going to mention his name because you know, he knows who I am. He watches my YouTube videos sometimes, and he knows who I am out of different reselling groups and stuff. But he's a great guy, and he again buys lots of items, and he knows what I like, and he'll clue me up on stuff, and if he gets some more stuff he'll let me know. So the one word of chappy advice this week that's worth taking: don't listen to me about anything else, you know, because I'm an amateur. I haven't got a clue what I'm doing. But this is gold, this now, pure gold. Well, it isn't really, but you know, let's pretend it is. Networking. Now that was a thing that they always used to say in the 80s and the 90s. Oh, you do some networking in business, you know. I will tell you some stories of my employed history another time, because you know, some of the things that have happened to me while I was employed, well, I'll tell you later, another time. I'm going to have to tell you stories about my family, my parents, my grandparents. I told you a little bit about my dad last week, didn't I? But there's other things. I didn't tell you when he gave a Shetland pony a caramel toffee, did I? And the Shetland pony couldn't. It was like that. Couldn't move its mouth. It got into this toffee, and it stuck its bottom and top jaw together till it melted. Yeah, so I never told you about the caramel toffee incident, did I, with the Shetland pony, or the time that he went to stroke a stag, and it attacked him, bit him. Or when a Palomino pony bit me on the shoulder and drew blood, because I put my arms around the back of its head like that to give it a cuddle when I was a kid, and it went. I've not told you about any of them. We'll leave them for a later date. There's all sorts of stuff, you name it. Sayings that my grandmother used to say, all sorts of things like that. One of her favourite sayings, apparently, like I say, she died long before I was born, was a variation of "don't judge a book by its cover," and it was, "many a kind heart beats beneath a shabby raincoat." So remember that, folks. See a little scruffy sod walking down the street, he might be alright, don't know. He might be the kindest man on earth. Don't diss him. Don't diss a tramp. Right, what am I talking about? Yeah, so get networking. Let these people know. Now, your 2 tactics at the car boot is private seller, obviously. Don't broadcast it that you're going to be selling it on. A lot of them will get the ump. But when it's a businessman, which all these house clearances men are, they are businessmen. They're selling out of the back of a van, but they're no different to us. They're just using a different platform of selling, aren't they? They're selling it direct, and they're selling it right now. And we all know that the right now price is a lot lower than that price that's up there, in the stratosphere. There, just up there, near the moon and the stars. You know, that price. That's the one we want. But he doesn't want that. Well, he does, but he's not going to get it. He knows he's not going to get it because he wants to put some diesel in the van on the way home, and he wants to go and take his missus out for a dinner with the cash, with the buns, with the moolah, with the spondoolies, whatever you want to call them. So yeah, make a contact with these guys. Get in there, and doors will open. Believe me. Listen to a man who knows nothing, and I'll tell you, you can't go wrong with a good contact. So yeah, that's my word of wisdom for the night. Now, I did pick up another poem. Now, this poem would be a bit of a downer, but it's sort of like, really, when you think about it, I was thinking about the Earth this week, as in planet Earth. And as far as I can see it, nothing's been added to this planet since it began, apart from meteorites, because obviously they've come from space and they've landed. But apart from that, nothing else, unless you believe in aliens, of course, and stuff like that. But nothing has been added to this planet. Everything that's here, us, all the animals, all the plants, all the minerals, have all come from some sort of process on this planet at some time. So it's like just like a big massive recycling machine, isn't it? Because you know, the rain falls on the hills, runs down into the river, into the reservoir, we drink it, we wee it out the other end, goes into the sewers, gets treated again, becomes water. You know, it's just like one big massive recycling thing. When you breathe something in, you know when you breathe something in and you breathe and it's a really bad smell, you're actually breathing in particles of what that was. So like when you smell a pork chop or something and it's cooking and you're breathing it in, that's little tiny microscopic bits of pork. So it's impossible to be a vegetarian because you cannot avoid breathing in bits of animal smell unless you walk around with a big mask on, which might become a fashion now. Now I've said that, it'll start, won't it? You know, the vegan mask. It's going to start. I've set it up already. Patents have been applied for. So yeah. So same with when you smell a bit of dog shit or something like that. It's that smell. It's part of that. It's giving off that vapor that's coming off that is chemicals from that, and you're breathing them in and you're ingesting them. So I was thinking this like with life and death. I mean, I don't want to get too down here now, but life and death, we just get recycled into something else. You know, like say if you got buried or whatever, you know, the worms would eat you, and then the rain would fall, and some of the worms would go to the top. You'd enrich the soil, plants would grow from you, something would eat the plants, and it just all gets moved around. The only thing that doesn't get moved around is the consciousness, isn't it? Because obviously that's all we are really, isn't it? Is our consciousness, our memories and our hopes and our future. That's why I love the Smiths' Cemetery Gates. I mean, I love Morrissey anyway. I think he's a genius. But there was a little poem that sort of like this is what got me thinking about it. And it's called "Do Not Stand at My Grave and Weep," and it's by, I'll have to read up on this now because Mary Elizabeth Fry, she wrote this in a moment of inspiration to comfort a family friend who'd lost their mother and was unable to visit the grave. And it's only a few lines long, but it really sort of like, I don't know, it just did something for me, this. And it's, do not stand at my grave and weep. So, do not stand at my grave and weep. I'm not there, I do not sleep. I'm 1,000 winds that blow. I'm the diamond glints on the snow. I'm the sun on ripened grain. I'm the gentle autumn rain. When you awaken in the morning hush, I am the swift uplifting rush of quiet birds in circle flight. I am the soft stars that shine at night. Do not stand at my grave and cry. I'm not there, I did not die. And it's giving me that, you know, that feeling now, where everything goes on edge here. Just giving me that feeling. So I just thought I'd share that with you. I mean, because I don't share what I sell really. But I just thought I'd share on you like some of the weird and wonderful thoughts that go through my head at times. Yeah, and I just thought of that. I just thought I'd throw that in there because it's so true, isn't it? Really, that everything that's here has been here thousands of times before, and thousands of times again. It's just like one giant recycling event, really, isn't it? And they say we should recycle. So, on that thought, I'm going to wish you a good night. I'm going to finish my alcohol-free beer, and I might even have a game of World of Tanks. But I'm so bad at that, so I'm sure I'll get blown up within 2 seconds. I don't know what's the matter with me. I can't seem to control it. So I get called a noob. I suppose that's newbie. Is that a newbie? Noob. Everyone keeps calling me a noob in there. I'm up to level 6 or something, but they keep calling me noob. Oh, noob mistake. Some right nasty people in World of Tanks. It's a battlefield. Right, it's a battlefield out there. Well, it is, isn't it? It's World of Tanks. Well, it's not really. It's just a game, isn't it, really? But, you know. Anyway, so I'll see you lot later. We've had a good month. 28 days. I'm happy. Turnover's vanity, so I'm going to shave my face and maybe put on a bit of foundation tomorrow, because, you know, turnover's vanity. See you later. Bye 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 bye.